If you've been a business owner for a few years or maybe many years and you're looking at expanding online, you've probably found yourself in the position where sometimes you've just lost a bit of motivation, a little bit of that passion, a little bit of that excitement for what you're doing. That might actually be what sparked you to think about moving online, having more freedom, more flexibility to follow your passions. And I bet along the way, you're probably wanting to do some new stuff, but you're feeling challenged and you're feeling a little intimidated by it. Well, I wanted to share with you today some really fascinating research that I've learned about that will help you to get reinvigorated, remotivated, and it will help you in having a sustainable business in person or online for the long term. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Erica Boling. I was a former associate professor, followed my passions, followed my dreams. I was able to create an online business where I was able to walk away from the university, build a dream home, move up to Maine, and just have a life that I never dreamt was possible. And I'll tell you, along the process, I went from, being super excited to scared to motivated to, things becoming a routine and then needing to change things up because it was kind of getting old, doing the same, teaching the same stuff and working with the same types of content, the same types of clients day in and day out. Sometimes we need a change. So what I found was some really fascinating research about what happens in our brain whenever we have these aha moments. So we've all been there, right? When you're trying to solve a problem, there's something new that you're trying to figure out, and then all of a sudden the light bulb goes off. And all of a sudden you're like, oh yes, that's it. And all of a sudden you figured it out. It could also be something that happens without you consciously trying to solve a problem. It's just somebody presents something in front of you and it was like, wow, I never thought of that before. That's really enlightening. Well, what's interesting in the research, there's been some research where they did brain scans and they had people where they were solving different types of problems, and they would have the people identify when it was that they had that insight, that big aha moment. And they were able to look at the brain and they were able to see the activation and more activity going on when they had those aha moments. And also what we know that when we have that kind of insightful moment, that there are chemicals released. And dopamine is one of those chemicals. So dopamine, we frequently associate with that process of the reward system, right? So let me give you a couple other things where dopamine is really beneficial. Number one is it can stimulate motivation. So having that boost of motivation, that boost of dopamine, we get more interested, more excited, more motivated. Number two, curiosity and creativity. Also, we know that dopamine helps us in the long-term learning and memory. Also, dopamine, it boosts our mood, right? It makes us feel good. There's so many different benefits whenever that happens. And so simply having that, something that triggers that insightful moment, that burst of, oh my gosh, the light bulb went on. Yes, I understand. That has so many different effects that can trickle down into our business. So if we're lacking creativity, we're lacking motivation, right? We're needing a boost of energy. And especially being, if you're a solopreneur, if you're running your own business, if you're doing an online business, we do a lot in isolation. And that also can be a compounding factor to make it difficult for us to stay motivated. So what I encourage you to do, number one, is if you're in that moment where you're out pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, things are feeling uncomfortable, things are challenging you, like that is a good thing. And if you keep it up and you have those moments where you push yourself through the challenging times or the discomfort of doing something new and novel, when you have those insights, that's going to be that boost of that dopamine, right? That boost of creativity, that motivation. And then also find opportunities. This is something I see when I work with a lot of business owners. The challenge here is when we become an expert and we've been doing something for many, many years, right? And we're good at it, is where are those aha moments? Where are those moments that are challenging us? Where are the moments where we're looking at things in a completely different way, or we're being challenged to change our whole perspective, our philosophy, our approach, something new, right? And so I would encourage you, if some of this sounds familiar and you're experiencing some of these kind of negative effects of, being a professional, being an expert, doing what we've been doing for a number of years, is to think about, are you challenging yourself? Are you learning new things? Are you doing things to kind of have that new aha, insightful moments happening? And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and like be studying on your business. I found that like when I was learning the ukulele and I was like having all these like amazing new insightful moments, and all of a sudden I could play a song that used to be really hard. I found that focus, that attention, that energy, I found that actually carried over into various aspects of my business. Again, the danger is just getting stuck in this same thing day after day, finding something that works, and then we just keep on doing it. And then we just kind of hit a plateau. And like I said, that's where a lot of people who have been, running businesses and doing the same things for a while, experts in a particular area, that's frequently where we start to be like, that passion is, is not quite there. I'm just not as excited as I used to be. And that lack of excitement, that lack of energy, it spreads to everything else. So I'll share below some of the research that I was looking at. There were some really interesting articles. And if you're interested in, expanding your business online, and if you're wanting to challenge yourself and learn new things and have new ideas, I also have a link below to, it's a short little questionnaire to see about getting a time to chat with me and getting some ideas and getting some support or advice on your business. If you're stuck in any of these modes, wherever you are in your business, what are you doing to challenge yourself? What are you doing to continue to learn? How are you putting yourself in a situation that you are being challenged to think in new ways and do new things and have opportunities for those aha moments to happen? And frequently it happens when we go outside our comfort zone. It happens when sometimes we realize, maybe we're not doing something the best way that we thought, was working, that there's better ways to do it. And we have to be lifelong learners. I know right now with technology and AI and things are changing so quickly, it can be really overwhelming. It might want to make us just pull back and say, you know what, I'm just going to stay here in my little box and do what's comfortable for me. But being open and learning new things, and you don't have to change everything all at once, but anything that's going to help you have more insight and aha and have that light bulb go off, set off that dopamine, it's all really, really great. And it can benefit you personally, professionally, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was a little bit of motivating also. Stay tuned for more. I'm going to be sharing more things, just kind of the mental and the psychological part to be successful in our business, to have a sustainable online business for however long we want it. And I have a number of strategies and tips for growing your business online. So check out the videos. I'll have one posted here also following up. And thank you for watching or listening if you're listening on a podcast. Bye-bye for now.